Yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay. So you're saying I'm gonna be able to get this. Okay, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So all I have to do is validate it and show you. You're. So I get the raise? What do you mean, how can I hear you while I'm wearing a headset? What do you mean I'm insane? What? I'm not insane. I'm gonna call. Oh, figment of imagination. YouTube agent. You always do this to me. Okay. So I got it. That's awesome. Alright, I'll tell my audience. What do you mean, don't tell my audience? I just got a raise. YouTube's paying me 1 cent a year because we just had our first comment. Woo! Hey everyone. Even more high energy today. I know, it's only gonna get worse from here, I think. You know how I was talking about me moving on from games and stuff yesterday. Not saying that I'm kind of taking it back, but I'm kind of taking it back. Some of you guys might know, the new Mario 35th Anniversary Direct came out today, and that's basically what my day's been revolving around on its entirety. But if there's something I do know that I've had a hard time doing, it's getting into new games, but when my nostalgia is involved, well, that's a whole other story, right? But yeah, I'm mostly excited about the new 3D All-Stars game coming out. I'm not gonna delve into it. You guys know about that already. I'm here to talk about my childhood. So let's get into that. So yesterday's episode. By the way, before I get into that, you might notice the camera's panned down a little bit more. That's because I have a lower chair now, so it's gonna make it a lot harder to be positioned in the right place, I guess. That's a good way to put it. But that's only for the meanwhile, because I'm transitioning to a new chair. Man, this makes me feel short. That's not usual for me. But yeah, let's get right to it. So, as a kid, if it isn't quite obvious by now, I was a big Nintendo fan. And growing up, around the time when the Wii came out, our family was a little poor, and we only had my dad's old GameCube, which is how I found out about Mario Sunshine. And basically, it revolved around me as a kid. Even though I thought I'd played it, my dad lets me know a lot of times that I was actually the one watching him play. But Mario Galaxy was when things started to change, when the Wii came out. And the Nintendo fan within me never really changed. I'd always been the same Nintendo fan up until now. And the issue with that was around the time when it was all about Xbox and PlayStation, and the whole war between Microsoft and Sony, which for a lot of us now probably seems very dumb and inconsequential. But at around the time when I was starting to realize what a school environment was really like, maybe around elementary, I think that was around when the Wii U came out for the first time. Let me get that right. Yeah, 8 years ago. Yeah. Wow, it's been like 8 years almost. But around that time, everyone disregarded the Wii U as horrible. And I mean, in reality, it wasn't a good success, but it was where a lot of my childhood laid. And I associated myself with it a lot. I'm not saying that was the center reason that I got bullied, but that was one of them. Because it was really common to get pushed down for liking Nintendo and, revolving yourself around that. If you had any form of Mario merch, it was not considered cool or retro or anything like it is now. It was childish. People thought you were dumb. Now, moving on from video game stuff, the person that I am now is, like I said yesterday, a bit different from the usual person my age. I wouldn't say it's better, but it's not, like the usual teenager. I have a hard time focusing on myself, and that's because I never really learned how to do anything for myself. When I was a kid, back in elementary, I didn't have any friends. I didn't meet my first friend till the beginning of middle school, which, if you guys pay attention to who I play with the most, or if you go back on my old YouTube videos, you could probably tell which one of my friends that is. But before that, all I really had was my family and people who would take advantage of me. That's all I really knew as a kid. And I'll get more into the topic of bullying at another point, because I do have a lot to say about that, and it's not something that people would probably like to hear, to put it nicely. But I went through a lot of real bullying. Some of it even got physical, despite my body size, which drove many people to not do that, because I didn't quite understand it, but my body was intimidating because I was always a big person. But yeah, I didn't know how to have self-worth when I was younger. I didn't understand the concept of doing things that didn't benefit someone else in some way. My cousins would only spend time with me when I had something new to offer to them, or whenever they wanted to play a game that I had, and I would always be the one watching, especially considering the fact that most of the games are single player, or most of the games back then were single. And the quote-unquote friends that I had really only used me for the stuff that I had. Back then I would have 3DS games and Wii U games, and people would be interested, and I would beg them basically to come to play with me. And I thought that I didn't deserve friendship, so whenever I did get any form of attention, I would assume that this is some amazing gift that I should be very careful about. And I would always be very terrified of making a wrong move or asking to play on my own game or my own console. Surely because I knew that if I got the person to be bored at all, they would leave. And being left alone was something that already happened to me way too much. So I didn't like risking that with the people who would give me attention. And you'd be surprised at how much a kid would be able to know about manipulating someone. We have to realize that children don't have a hard time knowing how to do things. What they have a hard time doing is understanding what it means to do certain things. People knew how to use me very easily, but they didn't understand the weight of that. So it affected me a lot, and they didn't realize that that's what they were doing, so they were unfazed. As a kid, I would get... Sorry, I didn't mean to get choked up here. I would get tossed around, not physically, but, from person to person, being told how I'm not deserving of value and how I'm annoying and no one likes me, and stuff like that. And all I really had was the video games that I grew up with. I became really attached to things like Yoshi and Mario. I guess people nowadays see it as a little bit childish, which I completely understand. It's something that I'm happy to be a part of now, unlike back then, because I now realize that there's a community behind it, people who love it and have a passion for that kind of thing just as much as I do. People telling me that platformers were dumb and they weren't impressive in the slightest. or anything like that for video game consoles. That's all I was surrounded by with the people around me, and that wasn't true. I know a lot of you have already heard me say this multiple times, but I think it says a lot. I remember asking my parents when I would have friends. And I remember them telling me that they were asking themselves the same thing. My first friend, surprisingly enough, was into the same things that I was into. And let me tell you, the feeling you get from that is really nice when you lived most of your childhood not having that. But even further than that, my first friend was my friend because he liked me. I still don't understand why people like me. I still sometimes pressure myself to be funnier or to be more giving, to maybe earn them liking me back, but I know that's not how that works. It's just the habits that have been built into me. It's why I really like being there for others and helping others. Not just to give myself worth, but because I know that I know what it's like to be in a really low position. Video games, I wouldn't say were what kept me happy, but video games gave me a form of identity. It was an item that represented what I want to enjoy purely because I enjoy it. I don't need random people who I don't know to approve of it. I appreciate you guys a lot, I know there's not many of you, but there are a few of you who allow me to have a voice and to share the thoughts that I have with you guys. And there's so many times where a friend is like, hey, you want to play blah blah blah, and I'll watch you play, we can talk, and that means so much to me now. So much more to me than anyone could ever imagine, because it's something that you think everyone has growing up, a buddy or someone to share something you like with, or someone who's there purely because you're you, or but yeah, I don't want to get too much into the sadder sides of those things. I'll read at the end of every video. I'll read the comments of the lot. So to transition out of this, let's go to reading the comment from yesterday. By the way, before I get into this, I'll be fine. You guys, I know it's not nice to see someone tear up. I wasn't really tearing up. It says as I scratch my eye. I wasn't really, going too far, but I'll be fine. I'll be okay. I have people who genuinely care about me and are here for me now, and that just makes me one of the happiest people on earth right now. So you don't have to worry about that. And I will delve more into my past later on. But yeah, let's read the comment. This comment is from someone under the name of Corvo. I think I can assume who that is, but I won't be revealing anyone's identity here. Yeah, I'll probably post a screenshot of the comment. I'll probably put it on screen right now. I find it a lot harder to get into a single player game now than a few years ago. But if I put a few hours into a game, I usually get lost in it, like I used to do. Even if it's like 50 hours long. He didn't say and, but my habits with online games haven't changed at all though. Okay, so I see there's some aspects of gaming that haven't changed for you like they have for me, which is really interesting because this is specifically the person I think it is. I find them to also be a person who's probably had a vastly changing life as, you know, we become aware of the world. Because there's some people our age that still haven't reached that point. Not people that I know personally, at least I don't think so. But yeah, it's cool to know that you know, gaming is still important to a few of y'all, and it's still easy to get into to some of you guys. I mean, that was obvious from the get-go, right? But hearing it from you guys is obviously a lot nicer, and I want to encourage more comments. So I'll be reading the comments for the question from the last day every day from now on. So yeah, thanks Corvo for commenting, and yeah, let's get to the question. So I guess this week has just become video game week. My question for you guys is, what game is personally important to you, and why? What impact did it leave on you? I'll share my answer to that question tomorrow. But for now, thank you guys so much for watching. This video's been a little longer than usual, but I'll do my best to cut it down. I think I'll be able to. Sorry if I got too emotional. I mean, feedback always helps. And I won't be answering comments that don't talk about the question. So if you're answering the question, don't worry, I'll get to your comment. If not, I won't read it. So you can always comment about whatever you'd like. But yeah, see y'all tomorrow.